Now streaming, it says on my end.
I think we are. Okay, I think you're good to go.
Okay. I'd like to call the Manchester Community School Board of Trustees to order. Will you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with justice and liberty for all. The roll call, all are present except for Mr. Flack. Are there any emergency additions or deletions?
There are not.
Then we're looking for a recommendation for approval for the roof bid for MAO and MJH.
Yes, it would be our recommendation to look for approval for Amos Exteriors to be awarded this bid. They were the lowest bidder of the 6 bids that we received for a total amount of $535,000. The base bid was $503,000. And when you add the 3 alternate amounts in, it would bring it to $535,000. We did some background checking on them. I know Dave did, and Dana provided us with some information that they've been in business for 50 years. They have a good rating with the Better Business Bureau. They do have an office in Indianapolis and 2 other offices in Florida. I believe that is correct. Dana, correct me if I'm wrong. And if any of you have questions, now would be a great time to ask those, and Dana can provide any more info, hopefully, of any questions you may have.
So can you hear me?
I can, Bryce.
Yeah, so Dave, has the facilities committee reviewed this and everything looks good with you guys? Dave, you're on mute.
Or Raju. Steve's not here, but
Yeah, Dave, we can't hear you.
He is not muted. I think he disconnected his microphone someplace.
well, I did talk to him and they did review it, right, Raju? Or at least I know he did because we kind of talked over it a little bit.
Yeah, we didn't review it in committee, but we've looked at it, at the bids, and I think I did speak with Dave, and he and I are both fine with the recommendation.
Okay.
Dave, can you hear us?
Yes. It's just Dave.
Yeah, just can't
Yeah,
hear.
he's unmuted, but there's something wrong with his microphone.
Probably muted on his computer. Keyboard.
Huh.
He just have to vote with his head, I guess, or something.
Well, you can just raise your hand like we were going to do anyway. He just won't know is the thing.
So do we need a motion?
Was the warranty, was that as far as you could, what is the warranty? Is that as far as you could take it?
I believe off top of my head, the warranty was 20 years. Is that, I know there was a question came from one of you folks
Yeah.
right after the bid. Whatever I answered back to Jeremy on that is what we put in the specification as the warranty time. And my opinion on warranties is it's just simply an insurance policy that you're paying for. So a longer warranty is possible. It just costs more money. And we've tended to find 20 years on these membrane roofs is a good place for the warranty to be.
Okay.
Yes, it was a 20-year warranty on the bid process for all the bidders.
Good, and then we were originally looking at 700 some thousand and it's 5, so
Yes.
that's good.
Can
Positive
you hear
news.
me?
Ooh, I heard Dave.
Yeah, Dave, we can hear you.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, I just wanted to point out to the board that when Dana showed us the contract in the committee meeting, there is a clause in there that allows Teresa and Jeremy, if we go, say they found rotted steel or some kind of a problem comes up, there's a $25,000 window over and above the contract that they can go ahead and approve without the board having to come back and have another meeting. I thought that was important for you to know.
And I would not say, that's not over and above, it's actually within the contract. And if you do not expend that money during the project, it's credited back to you in a reduction of the contract amount.
Oh, so the 25,000 is already in the price that they,
Yes, sir.
okay, I misunderstood. That's good.
I have that document if you want me to bring it up.
Then not really, but do we think like the timing, is it gonna be delayed at all due to what's going on right now with the virus deal or?
Well, at this
Any
point in
idea?
time, school construction is considered essential work. So the issue would be whether or not they can actually get the material. The fact that it's made in the US is good, obviously. But we have seen that essential work is defined differently in different states. So for example, in Michigan, many of the plants that make a lot of the materials we get, they're in shutdown during the shelter in place order there. So I suppose it's possible that we will see anywhere from a 2-week to month and a half delay in production if the plant where this is manufactured gets shut down. I don't know off the top of my head whether they're using GAF or Firestone. I noticed they are approved contractors for both of those materials, and those are both appropriate for your project, were permitted. So they might have a couple options looking at what plants are open. And a lot of these places have plants in multiple states. So it just all sort of depends. I can't give you a matter of fact answer. We may be just fine, or we might get delayed a month. At this point in time, everybody's just kind of sitting on pins and needles, trying to figure out what's happening on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, or could, so we're kind of up in the schedule then anyway. I was kind of thinking the other way that maybe if we didn't have school, we could potentially move up if we weren't having school or something, if it was essential work, so.
I have not reached out to Amos to ask them what their availability or possibility of getting materials sooner might be, but I'd be happy to do that if you think that's a possibility for you.
Well, no, I kind of just look in the future here. Who knows if we're ever going to go back or something. So I didn't know if there's a way we could kind of hop up in the service line, if you will, because of it. I mean, looking for positive out of it. So yeah, and good job. Appreciate all your efforts. So.
Thank you.
We're glad you
I'll
have your
make a
voice
motion.
back.
Pardon?
Say we're glad you have your voice back.
Most days.
I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve the contract. I'm good with it.
I'll
I'll
second it.
Go ahead.
So I think we have a motion by Mr. Turflinger and a second by Mr. Bedke. Is there any more discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have recommendations for approval, the resolution of wage payments during COVID-19 emergency closure.
Well, we'll go ahead and just talk a little bit about this and how important our employees are to us. And we want to make sure that, you know, they're just like our family. So we want to make sure that we're taking care of them during this time. We are looking at paying the both classified and certified staff when they're off, and those that are working that have to be here that are essential employees, giving them time and a half on those days that they actually are in working for us. And we also have our food service staff that is working on Saturdays as well. So we would like to be able to give them time and a half. It was just a little bit easier to do it this way than giving them a stipend. As far as how we figure that all out, as far as the financial aspect of it. So that's what this resolution is about. We'd like to continue to pay our staff when we are off. Any questions?
Yeah, Teresa,
Resolution.
is there a time frame that this extends through, or?
Well, it starts on Thursday, March 19th. And it says lasting until the resumption of the 1920 school year or normal end of the 1920 school year if school does not resume. That's what the contract says.
Can you repeat that? From 18th to what?
It's
The end of the contract?
it's basically until the shutdown is over or to the end of the school year. So they're just giving us permission to do that with this resolution. If you scroll down to the second to the last paragraph, there you go. Third to the last paragraph, my fault, where it says Thursday, March 19th, 2020, and lasting until the resumption of the 1920 school year or normal into this of the year 1920 school year if school does not resume.
Teresa?
How did you come up with the time and a half, I guess? Versus I've seen some schools are treating it almost sort of like hazard pay where they get double the pay versus like time and a half. And then that would just be for people working.
That's just
And
for
then
the people that are actually here working, but we have them on a limited basis. So there is no one working full time that's an hourly employee other than I think Jack and who's the other one, Jeremy?
Jack and Jay.
Jay.
Lori, and then the secretarial staff inside MAO here. We're trying to rotate them through on different days, but they do have laptops that they're able to take home and answer emails and get things done on the days that they may not be here, at least through April 7th, based on what the governor had put out at this time.
Are Jack and Jay hourly?
Yes.
so they are full-time and then others are just working kind of partial.
Well,
Yes.
we've got, yeah,
Those two people, I guess I'm just looking for equity here, you know, so. And then as our thought at the end of this, I'll just tell you my frame of reference on this is, you know, most of these people live in the community, so this is really our community economy we're talking about, and I applaud the effort, like, you know, to pay them definitely. I'm just trying to figure out what's equitable compared to what the state and federal government will reimburse after this thing's over. So when I look at the outlay of money, one thing, you know, they just passed a $2 trillion bill that some of that stuff doesn't make sense to me. So I'm in one hand, I want to be very frugal with our money. In the other hand, I don't know, you know, the way things are going here. The other thing I don't want to do is like shortfall our people in our community compared to other communities or what the state and federal government are going to accept when we turn in the expenses for this. So that's kind of my frame of reference is trying to understand what that is. You know, I'm just reading the headlines like Trump's talking about paying doctors and nurses hazard pay and things like that. So I'm okay with, I like the fact of paying them just to make it fair and equitable to those that are actually working compared to the ones that aren't working, and then those in between. So if we've only got 2 full-time people, I would say they would be in one level. The other people would be at one level, and then the rest of the people that aren't working at all would be at another level, is the way I'd see that. But I mean, I didn't really understand the details of this. I guess not throwing this up during the meeting. So I guess that's whatever, you know, that's the way I'd think about it. So
Well, we went to several of those staff members and asked them what they thought was fair, and they are the ones that came up with time and a half.
okay, well,
Which staff?
I just want to make everybody feels equitable in it and stuff like that, because you do have some people that it is you know, it is a little bit of risk to them when you got people out there even handing out food and stuff. You know, I would say they definitely deserve something. So I'll kind of leave that in your ballpark then. And then what if is that the feeling from everyone that that's the best way forward here? Let's say that we just continue to close school and just go with that for the rest of the year, that we pay to the end of the year. Is that in their best financial interest for some of these people versus being laid off or something like that?
Yeah, that's one question I had as well. The way, and I know this stuff is just all coming out, but what I've been reading and looking at some of my employees, it kind of looks like they might be better off being laid off than us paying them.
Well, and I'm just saying that. I mean, there's a lot of caveats to that, because I think they've got a delay period. Some people hate the thought of that, right? I mean, there's all kinds of nuances, but I'm just wondering if I guess I'm just asking the question if we thought about those angles, you know, in this resolution. I mean, I'm okay with it, but I just want to make sure the ones that are working are fairly equitable, because I think at some point we'll probably get reimbursed for some of this from the state or federal government. I would hope if they're giving money to, you know, other people and real estate investors and airline, you know, freaking Boeing and people like that, I'd hope that we're going to be taken care of at the end of this too. So the last thing I want to do is shortfall anybody that's actually out there working, putting themselves in danger, you know, as compared to somebody that is. And nothing wrong with the people staying home, you know, I'm kind of feel it. So, you know, but I just want to make sure that the people that are working are rewarded appropriately as compared to how everybody else in this country is getting rewarded. I don't see why we want to shortchange anybody in the community. The unemployment thing, I think, has to be looked at probably as an individual and see what that does for them. But I don't, you know, a lot of people, that's kind of, they don't like that stigma, and neither do I. So, you know, but I just wonder if we've looked at what's the best option for people and then give them the option, I guess, is what and I don't know if there's how that works with the public institution and unemployment. I have no idea how that works. So
And I guess what we did is tried to come up with the best possible solution without knowing all of those variables. Because at this point, I don't think a lot of that is decided. And so we're trying to come up with the best possible solution to be able to help our people continue to get paid during this time period.
No, and I applaud your recommendation. I just throwing a couple angles at you. So I just, you know, it's just want to make sure that the people that are kind of stepping up feel like they're equitably treated on this thing. So if you know, I'll leave that kind of in your ballpark, but I just, you know, there is a lot of angles to this thing. So should we do it? Should this thing be to the end of school year, or do we need another checkpoint as things change here?
That,
Or do you just want to?
yeah, I was going to ask a similar question, but if you do a month at a time.
Well, I think that's why this is left open-ended, that it's either when we return or towards the end of the school year. If we don't finish it out, then our employees are protected both ways. And that was what we were looking at, is from the employee aspect of it. I mean, we can certainly check in again, but we're covered either way. Let's just say we go back May 4th, like the governor has said, but if not, we don't go back and we don't finish the school year, they're still covered.
I think I would applaud the efforts also, particularly, I mean, this thing is changing, it seems, on a daily, if not a weekly basis. And I think what we've done is offered something with the best knowledge that we have. So everybody, every staff gets paid their wage, and those few who are working extra get the time and a half for the hours that they work. And there's only 2 that seem to be full time. So I think it's been well thought out with the knowledge that we have today and knowing that things change. You know, and I think Raju brought up an interesting point. Could they make more, do better being laid off and get unemployment with the benefit to unemployment? Maybe, but there is a stigma. Then they have to reapply for their jobs. And it's, I mean, there's a headache with that also. And we're talking about 6 to, well, probably about 8 weeks now at this point. So I'm in favor of where we are at this point.
I
We said
also
that there's
really,
we said there's 2 people that are working full time on a given day, getting ready for these 1,400 meals. How many people do we have working?
Yeah, that would be our food staff personnel in each of the buildings that they would typically work on a day. They're not working every day at this point based on the structure now that we have set up. But I know one day last week that one day on Wednesday, they all worked almost a full 8 hours or more getting ready. But then they took Thursday off at one building and Friday, while another building came in and broke those hours up. So they're doing what they need to get done so that we can have those meals ready on Saturday to box and distribute to our community. So they're going to put in some hours during these next weeks to do that, to prep those meals. So that's kind of the other group. And then there's a couple bus drivers that are driving the buses to those remote other areas outside of our community to drop off those meals. So they would fall into that. So it's, we're probably not looking more than like 24 people total that this would affect over the course of this closure time. So that was our process.
So they're going to get their regular rate of pay on the days that they don't work, and the hours that they work, we're going to pay them time and a half.
Correct.
That's correct?
That's correct. Or
okay, well, I guess here's my thought process on it. Let's treat everybody equal. They're all getting their regular pay for being at home. If they have to come in and work, if you call them, Teresa, and say, we need you to work, I think they ought to be paid double time. That's just, you know, I mean, out in industry, if you're off on a holiday and you get called in to work, it's time and a half plus the holiday pay. So, you know, and nobody knows what we're, you know, every one of us looks like we're fine, but we could all be carrying it. And, you know, I mean, we're way out of anything we've ever been in before. And I just think that if we got to call them and come in and they're being exposed to the public, we ought to just pay them double time for every hour that they work. And everybody gets paid their regular hourly rate if they're at home. That's my take on it. You know, I just, we're not talking about a whole lot of money here.
Well, we ran it past classified staff and we ran it past certified staff, and they were all fine with it. So that's why we went with that, because we asked them what they thought was fair. They're the ones that came up with it, not us. So
I get it. I'm just saying I want to give them more. It's not a lot of money. We're talking about 24 people here that are being exposed to something that could end up taking their life. I'm just saying, I think we ought to pay them double time for the hours that they have to work.
Dave, how about you do that for the 2 that are full time and the other people get time and a half that are working partial? And then the ones that don't work at all get the regular pay.
That's what I said. The ones that work, that aren't working at all, get their regular pay. The ones that are coming in and working and preparing these meals, you know, I've been out there. I'm seeing what's going on, and they're
Yeah, I
in
know.
contact. They're in contact with the public.
Yeah,
Call it
that's-
hazard pay. I don't care what you call it. I think they deserve more than time and a half for showing up. Because in March 19th, didn't we do, Teresa, didn't we do a 1,400 feed the week before too?
We did. No, not the week before we didn't. She added 400 more boxes this last time. So it was more of 1,000. Well,
My microphone looks like it's still on, but I said my piece.
well, I mean, you guys have to approve or not approve. I mean, we were trying to not interrupt pay, so we wanted to get this done tonight. If I have to take it back and rewrite it, then we will have to interrupt pay because it has to be a resolution.
You don't have to rewrite it. All you got to do is modify it when we come in to sign it. We do it at Heartland all the time.
Okay,
Just
Dave.
make a note of it in the record.
Well, what's everyone else think on it? That's probably, it should be open discussion and then just let's vote. So,
Well, it's a tough spot to be in. I think Teresa and Jeremy did their work ahead of time, and so I'm inclined to go with what's on the table at the moment. But now potentially I look like the guy that doesn't want to pay. That's not the case. I just think they did all the work leading up to this point. It was satisfactory and appears fair to me. So that's what I would do.
Is just a question. I mean, if we were to pass this, would we then have the option to change it if circumstances changes? Can we change that at our next meeting, or?
You can come back and do a new resolution, yes.
I mean, I'm just curious, so that could be at at the next board meeting, or?
Yeah, you can come back and modify it if you wouldn't want to do that.
my person, if you got, there's 3 classifications of people. So, I kind of said my piece too, Dave. And nothing, again, like the food service people, or especially, I know they're kind of working their tail off and standing out and stuff like that. So I just want to make sure we're equitable compared to what everybody else is kind of doing. And I don't usually look at it like that, but I'm real surprised like the state hasn't like come out with something on this to give guidance on, what potentially they would reimburse and things like that. So, I mean, it's in the budget anyway, right? So.
Well,
At least I can see the 2 full-time people get something different. Maybe it doesn't have to be double time, I guess, but those people are, it's just like I go around here and again, all management and stuff, it's, you guys are in there and stuff, but a lot of the factories and stuff, it's work at home, but yet, there's the value adders and they're working, making things tick still. And a lot of these companies aren't even paying their people any extra. So I think it's very noble that you came up with this and we're doing this. I just want to make sure before we do it that there's an equitable stance between all these people. So there's 2 people doing it all the time. There's a handful of people doing it partially, and there's people that aren't working at all. So I think really, if you want to look at things, at least those 2 people, when you look at taxes and stuff, time and a half sounds like a lot, but at least those 2 people should get something from my book.
Hey,
I just
Jeremy,
don't want us to do this and somebody have an argument about equitability. So
Jeremy,
as long as you talk to everybody.
is it time and a half? So they're paid 40 hours or whatever their contract currently is.
Correct.
Everybody gets that. And then if they work an additional 10 hours, they get the 40 hours plus the 10 hours of time and a half. So all the time and a half is,
And more than their 40 hours, that's correct. But if they typically work 6 hours a day and they come in for 3 of those hours are regular time and 3 are time and a half.
okay. Okay. So everything above and beyond what they typically have done that day would be time and a half.
Right, right.
I don't know
hate
if
to ask a
everybody,
question, but
Go ahead, Ruth.
I don't know if everybody had a chance to see their email, but the message from Mr. Huber I thought was important, and I really appreciated where he said, MTA is in complete favor of this. So yeah, I appreciated the way you said it, Rick, like this for what's on the table right now. And we can always, when we know more, we can always change it. But it seems to me that with what was known at the time, and working with MTA, it just seems that this seems like a really fair thing for what we know now. And if we know something different in the future, we can always change it. Do I understand that correctly?
Absolutely.
Has any of you been there when they're filling the boxes?
Yes, I have been.
It's quite a job.
no, but they're not out there when they're standing in the rain and cold and handing out food too. So, but let's vote then if we're done with discussion.
I'm still waiting for a motion in a second.
Well, that's why.
I second.
I didn't, Mike, did you make a motion?
No, but I was hoping somebody would. So
Oh,
I didn't hear who made the motion.
I'll make a motion.
Okay. So we have a motion by Mr. Bedke. Is there a second?
I'll second.
And a second from Mr. Esposito. Any more discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Thank you. The final recommendation for approval that we're asking for is Darla Kane as Corporation Treasurer, effective August 3rd, 2020.
I'll
I'll
make
make
a
a
motion.
motion to approve it.
Second.
So there's a motion from Mr. Turflinger and a second by Mr. Shaw. Is there any discussion?
Only, I guess I'll just add this, that I talked to Jeremy ahead of time and Teresa and Jeremy are recommending it, so.
Sorry, guys, I think I have quite a bit of a lag. So I'm doing my best here. Any more discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Thank you. Are there any superintendent comments?
All I would just say is I want to reiterate how important our employees are, and we want to make sure that they're taken care of no matter what. So if things change, then they change, and we will make sure that we take care of them because they are very important to our daily operations and their families. So we're going to make sure that we take care of them no matter what. And that's it.
Thank you. Any school board comments?
Yeah, we appreciate your care and concern, Teresa and Jeremy. Thanks for your tireless effort. I know that you're not getting paid more, but you guys are there on a daily basis and you're loading boxes and you're serving the community, and it just doesn't go without notice. So thank you for your servant leadership.
you.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
I would echo what Mr. Bedke said. Thank you very much for all going above and beyond. So with that, we're going to be adjourned. Thank you, board, for virtually meeting. We'll see you later.
Thank you.
Have a great evening.
Bye.
You.